This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 35th episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. I'll only mention this briefly, and I'll only mention it just in case you forgot, but I love trees. Oh, they're so awesome. Now, we've talked about several trees since the beginning of our run of this series, and I promise we're going to talk about a lot more. Back in episode 15, we talked about the Wabanaki tribe and how they believe Gluskabua used an ash tree to create the first humans. But they're not the only ones with strong ties to the ash tree. The Wabanaki Indian tribes craft baskets from ash splints. The Chitimacha Indians believed that ash was poisonous to rattlesnakes, so they would use ash canes to drive away snakes. Some Great Plains tribes, such as the Ponca, used green ash wood instead of cottonwood for their sacred Sundance poles. Though the Ojibwe people believed that the first man, known as Nunne'hi, was created from an ash tree by the Great Spirit. We talked about Nunne'hi before. He's a very interesting cultural hero. The Iroquois people have an important tale about the three sisters, corns, beans, and squash, in which an ash tree provided protection and support for the three sisters, which were central to the agriculture and way of life. I've actually found multiple versions of this story, but actually none of them featured an ash tree. So I think we're going to share that story next week so we can talk about the three sisters. In the Nordic tradition, Yggdrasil, the world tree, is an ash tree. It's the cosmic tree that connects the 9 worlds and serves as the cultural axis for the universe, called the Tree of Life. So the ash tree is seen in many traditions as a bridge between the earthly realm and the divine. Its towering height and deep roots symbolize the connection between the heavens, earth, and the underworld. The ash tree is often associated with rebirth and renewal. Its ability to regenerate from a stump or from fallen branches symbolizes resilience and the cyclical nature of life. In Celtic mythology, the ash tree is linked to the concept of rebirth and transformation as well. Now, the ash tree is believed to have protective and healing properties. In various folklore, it's said to ward off evil spirits, provide physical and spiritual healing. Its leaves, bark, and sap have been used in traditional medicine for their supposed curative properties. It's also linked to wisdom and knowledge. We talked about the Nordic Tree of Life. Well, that connects the realms, but it's also the source of all knowledge. Odin, the chief god, hung himself on Yggdrasil to gain wisdom and uncover the secret of the runes. So the ash tree is wildly important, no matter what culture you look at. Its strong wood symbolizes strength, resilience, and endurance. It's been used to make tools, weapons, and structures throughout history, and its durability is a metaphor for steadfastness and inner strength. Lastly, it's associated with fertility and growth because its ability to thrive in various environments and its role in promoting biodiversity reflects the qualities of abundance and nurturing. Very, very cool. Trees are great, and the ash tree, I'm a big fan. So I'd like to return now to our Native American friends and talk about the Cherokee people. The Cherokee people believe that there are spirit warriors called the Nunne'hi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But they're said to live in the mountains and hills, and those beings are associated with ash trees, which are portals to the spirit world. So these spirit warriors would appear from the ash trees to aid the Cherokee in times of need, providing protection and guidance. I unfortunately did not find a complete story for our ash tree, aside from the one I told in episode 15, but I did find a great article about the Nunne'hi written by Thalia Lightbringer in 2018. It's featured on Ancient Pages, and it has some really great information about the Nunne'hi and references to some stories, so I'm going to share her article with you. The Cherokee have many wonderful legends. Some of the most interesting stories involve people who looked just like normal Cherokee, but were apparently supernatural beings called the Nunne'hi. They were not nature spirits or gods, but were said to be immortal. The Nunne'hi were a happy bunch who loved music and dance, helped lost travelers, and protected the Cherokee people in times of war. Nunne'hi has been translated literally as people who live everywhere, and perhaps because they lived in strange places, underground, inside mountains, and under streams, to the Cherokee they are immortals, or people who live forever. These immortals lived in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia, near the traditional lands of the Cherokee Nation. One tale tells of a circular depression, which the people said was a townhouse of the Nunne'hi. Cherokee townhouses were circular public buildings covered with bark and benches inside. This townhouse and the people who lived there were apparently invisible and intangible. People would toss debris inside the depression, and when they returned, the floor would be cleaned up again. Now, after white settlers arrived, things being tossed inside remained there. The Cherokee say that the Nunne'hi abandoned their townhouse because they were annoyed with the white people. Other places where these supernatural people lived were hills, mounds, and mountains. In the area, especially high mountain peaks with few trees on top. That was a good place for them to hang out. It's said that the Nunne'hi had large townhouses in Pilot Knob, under the Nunne'hi Mound in North Carolina, and under Blood Mountain in Georgia. The Nunne'hi could not be found if they did not want to be, for they were normally invisible. If you followed the sound of their music, it would change and appear to be coming from another direction as soon as it seemed like you were getting close. However, the Nunne'hi were very friendly and helpful people, and came out when they were needed. They often helped lost travelers, bringing them into Nunne'hi townhouses to care for them, and then taking them back to their homes. One story tells of 4 women who came to a dance at Nunne'hi town. They left around midnight. Some of the men from the town watched these women and saw them head down the trail to the river. When the women reached the water, they disappeared. Then the people of the town knew they had been visited by the Nunne'hi women. There were also stories of the Nunne'hi helping Cherokee when attacked. Nunne'hi Mound was said to be the site of one such battle. An unknown tribe had invaded from the southeast. None could stand against them. When the warriors came to Nunne'hi at the head of the Little Tennessee River, the people there were forced to retreat. The people of the settlement thought they were lost when a stranger appeared among them, saying he would defeat the invaders for them. Then many warriors started coming from the side of the mound to attack the invaders. The people knew this meant they were being aided by the Nunne'hi. The Nunne'hi became invisible when they fought. The invading warriors retreated, but most of them were killed. When there were only a few left, the Nunne'hi chief spared them, telling them they deserved their punishment for attacking a peaceful people. He told the remaining warriors to take this story back to their tribe. Another story tells of an old man who was attacked while chopping wood. He was alone since the rest of his people had left for a hunt or a dance. He ran back to his house to get a weapon. When he came out, he was surprised to see a band of warriors who had come to help him. They fought off the attackers, but disappeared as soon as the old man went to thank them. The Cherokee people on Valley River and Hiwassee heard Nunne'hi voices calling to warn them that a bad time was coming. This was before their forced removal to Oklahoma in 1838, which became known as the Trail of Tears. The the Nunne'hi invited some of the Cherokee to come live with them in their mountain home at Pilot Knob, North Carolina. However, before the Cherokee could enter the home of the immortals, they were required to fast for 7 days and make no loud sounds. The people decided to trust the voices of the Nunne'hi because they had always been helpful to them, so they fasted as requested, then were taken inside the mountain to live. In another village, the Cherokee people had come together to the townhouse to fast, and on the 7th day heard a noise like thunder coming towards them. The ground began to shake and the townhouse started lifting into the air. Despite the warning, some of the people cried out in fear, and the Nunne'hi dropped part of the townhouse. The Nunne'hi took the people of another village to live with them under the waters of a river. The Cherokee said that after that, you could hear the people talking under the river on warm summer days. The Cherokee people who chose not to go with the Nunne'hi were later forced to leave their lands and move to Oklahoma, along with a few other tribes. It's said that some of the Nunne'hi went to Oklahoma to continue to watch over the Cherokee people. Cherokee who went to Oklahoma said that one of their biggest regrets was leaving their relatives who joined the Nunne'hi in their homeland. These tales are fantastic and pleasant to read because they're generally stories of positive outcomes. It would be nice to believe that there were really some immortals who helped people. However, if you found yourself wandering in the mountains where the Cherokee once dwelled, you could hear them still playing music and dancing with relatives of those who walked the Trail of Tears. There's so much pain and trauma today as a result of terrible events that have taken place in the past. I'm grateful that the Nunne'hi were able to spare some people of a terrible fate. But we've learned from Creator all things were created perfectly, and perfect things cannot be destroyed. Sure, they can be broken, but that which is broken can be repaired. A desire to heal and to be repaired is the first step of our journey to being the perfect being that we were created to be. And I believe that return to the perfect creation is within reach for all of us. I've begun my journey to return to that perfect creation, and I wish you blessings, kindness, and compassion on your journey as well. Thank you for joining me on my journey and on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. Today's main story was written by Thalia Lightbringer at ancientpages.com. Check out ancientpages.com for a lot of really wonderful content on many different ancient societies, Native American, Vikings, Celtic, Egyptian, many others. It's a great website to look at and read through. Thalia Lightbringer is an artist, singer, and writer. You can find many articles from her on ancientpages.com or find more of her work on her Facebook page, which has not been updated recently, but maybe reach out to her there if you'd like to see some more from her. There's more great stories and legends on Jaguar Bird on YouTube. It's a great channel, great content. And of course, you can join me here next week for another story on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. The beautiful music you're listening to right now is provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast image was provided by Mark Lawton. We'll see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa?
Awesome.
Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.